Welcome to Comadres y Comics. Comadres y Comics is a podcast hosted by 3 Latina women.
We highlight the Latinx presence in the comic book industry as creators, characters, and fans.
Join us as we talk chisme, comics, fandom, and beer.
Hello and welcome to an episode of Las Platicas. This is episode 287. This is an interview with Javier Hernandez, Man of Mictlán Kickstarter campaign.
Woohoo!
Ooh. Kristen, can you tell us more about this?
Yes, well, don't forget, Las Platicas is a show hosted by Comadres y Comics, where we meet with creators and friends to talk about upcoming projects, events, and all around awesome news in the comic community. We've had the pleasure of talking with Javier over the years, and every conversation reminds us why he's been such an important voice in independent comics. Through stories rooted in Latino culture, history, and mythology, Javier has spent decades creating characters and worlds that reflect communities too often left out of the mainstream. Now, he's back with a Kickstarter campaign that expands upon the El Muerto legacy with Man from Mictlan #2, the next chapter in his action-packed series inspired by Mexican mythology. Today, we had planned to talk with Javier about where the story goes next, what readers can expect from the campaign, and why independent, culturally authentic storytelling continues to matter in today's comics landscape. However, we ran into some technical difficulties, and this time it wasn't our fault.
Honestly, I'm surprised.
I'm shocked.
Unfortunately, Javier was having some problems with Riverside and also with his own local internet. I believe he said it was Frontier, has been out since Friday. Write an angry letter, Javier, and we will co-sign. So he wasn't able to join us, but we have read the kind of like promo copy that he sent us. And so we've gotten to see it. It was so exciting that we get it ahead of time. We're not going to share too many spoilers, but we do want to talk a little bit about the campaign and also encourage others to support Javier in this amazing next iteration of Man from Mictlan. So, without giving too much away, let's talk a little bit about what we can expect from this next chapter. So, Jen, can you share a little bit about what the Kickstarter actually says?
For sure. So on the Kickstarter page right here, you can find it on Kickstarter.com, The Man from Mictlan, issue #2. The second issue of the rough draft edition in a variant cover by Rafael Navarro. So, El Muerto, the Aztec zombie, returns in part 2 of The Man from Mictlan. Having arrived in Tijuana in issue #1, Diego began a passionate romance with Dulce Gallardo, but he also crossed paths with the Death Squad, the execution branch of La Mordida, the Mexican cartel for hire. In the new issue, the Death Squad isn't done with El Muerto as they send in their full team of killers after him: Escorpio, Payasina, Ballena, Juan Cuervo, and Red Death. At the same time of their assault on El Muerto, they themselves are attacked by their sworn enemy, the super vigilante known as Angel de la Muerte, with Diego caught in the middle of the bloodbath. The entire comic, all 53 pages, are drawn and lettered. All that remains is for the book to be assembled for printing. As with our previous campaign, we also have produced a rough draft edition featuring all 53 pages of the manuscript presented in their rough pencil stage. And as for this issue's variant cover, we have enlisted the services of Rafael Navarro, creator of the renowned comic book series Sonambulo. The Man from Mictlan #2 is a whopping 53-page epic filled with epic battles and passionate romance. With a blend of supernatural horror, Aztec mythology, telenovela and melodrama, Mexican folklore, humor, and superhero action, the world of El Muerto, the Aztec zombie, delivers to readers a fresh and exciting experience. If you missed the previous campaign, we're also making the first issue of The Man from Mictlan available as well. El Muerto debuted in 1998 and for nearly 30 years has remained an independent creator-owned comic. In 2007, a live-action film starring Wilmer Valderrama was released with Javier serving as associate producer and even securing a speaking cameo in the film. The book was drawn by my all-too-human hand with brush pens and markers. My fingers typed every single word seen in the book. I digitally colored the cover. No AI was used in creating either the art and story. My mind, heart, and soul conceived the story and executed the artistic choices. And then we get a preview of the pages that are going to be featured in this issue. And then we also get the variant cover art by Rafael Navarro. And then it continues. And as with the first issue, we'll also have a rough draft edition with features all the penciled rough draft pages for the second issue. 53 pages of behind the scenes process work. And then we get the rough draft cover as well as previews of what the rough drafts look like. We'll be aiming for some stretch goals featuring digital books, buttons, stickers, and prints. Our first stretch goal will include a digital copy of our 2010 art book Arte del Muerto. This will be sent to every single backer once we hit the goal of $500. Second stretch goal, 1.5-inch buttons featuring Mictlán Tecuitli, Gloria Dazonki, Diego's Aztec heart tattoo, and El Muerto himself. And then the third stretch goal, a sticker set featuring classic art from our archives, each measuring 2 by 3 inches. And then there's a fourth stretch goal, a 4-piece print set, each measuring 8.5 by 11 inches on glossy cardstock. Mi pobre corazón, Ángel de la Muerte, El Muerto meets the coma and grip of death. Never mind, I'm going to keep that thought to myself. We are also offering original art rewards drawn on 11 by 17 inch with pen and ink. One features El Muerto in combat with Rafael Navarro's cult comic character Sonambulo. The other original art piece is called Muertos of the Universe and features an homage to He-Man. The reward will also include an 11 by 17 color print. Thanks in advance for backing this or sharing it online, and thanks to all who have supported my efforts previously. In some ways, I'm only here because of folks like you. With shipping and print comic stickers, costs continue to rise incrementally. I sincerely appreciate everyone's continued support. One day, it's conceivable that shipping costs will make sending comics through the mail prohibitable, as it's done for overseas shipping, but hopefully by hitting some stretch goals, you'll be getting extra items with your reward at no extra cost to you. El Muerto, the Aztec Zombie, is owned by Javier Hernandez.
Woo!
Yay.
So, like I said, we were able to read this issue that is up on Kickstarter. I have already backed it at the retailer level. So that if you are a retailer, and I know that Peter Milini, owner of Nostalgic Comics over in San Gabriel, also has backed it. So if you are also a retailer, make sure that you back this project and support marginalized creators, and especially Javier, who's been in the industry for decades, promoting stories by and for Latinos. So in this book, the first issue that we read, Man from Mictlan #1, where we also spoke to Javier and had problems with technology, we learned that this whole world is rooted in Mexican mythology and folklore. And so in this second book, he definitely expands upon that and introduces, as Jen said, a bunch of new figures and legends. And so I actually really enjoyed all the names are very, very clever and very very apt to the way that he drew them and what they look like. So that's super exciting. And without giving up too much spoilers of where they come into the story, I actually enjoyed that part of it because Diego is definitely in all of the El Muerto stories, he kind of balances between superhero and also just being a representation for cultural identity, the way that Javier presents him. So I really, really thought that in this book, he was really called upon a lot to be that superhero. What did you think, Sarah?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There was a moment where we do see a softer side of the character where we see more of the love story developing between him and Dulce, but also we see the kind of heart that he has, even though he's a zombie and doesn't have heart pumping in blood pumping in his heart, but we see a lot of nobleza, nobility in his character that I found to be quite a really unique characteristic, almost childlike in innocence in a way, where he's just trying to help out his fellow man, even though
Naive.
yes, rejected
Naivete.
because he's a sonambulo. He's basically a zombie. But I think the development of the love story is rooting him back to the living, and I think that's a really amazing development in the story.
Yeah, actually, I was very surprised at, I don't know, surprised. I guess surprise is the word, at how much of this book actually did focus on the relationship between Dulce and Diego. And because in the first book, I think I remember when we interviewed that we were like, well, what about Dulce? We need to hear more about Dulce. And I remember him saying, oh, that wait for book two. And he did not disappoint. He wasn't telling a lie. There is a lot of their relationship in this story, and it's really interesting because we see how she is really kind of trying to convince Diego that she loves him for who he is. And he kind of is a little bit insecure because he's a zombie. And in fact, Sarah brought up the blood pumping to his heart, but as a zombie, it doesn't pump to other places. And that is
According to Javier's
yes,
lore.
and that is an actual topic they talk about in the book.
This is Javier's lore. I have read plenty of romantasy or really freaky shit where, you know what? It still just pump.
So, I enjoyed that part. And it still gives you hard-hitting superhero story. As you remember from book one, or if you haven't read it, what was it? Mordido, El Mordido? Was that what it was? The
Yeah.
cartel?
Yeah, La
Mordi-
Mordida. La
Mordida.
Mordida. Yeah.
Mordida. Okay.
Yeah.
Was introduced, and Diego got into the middle of it, so we kind of see a little bit more of that story unfolding here in number 2. We know that Javier has really consistently celebrated Latino characters and stories with his El Muerto book. We've read his book. We've read his little cochino book. Cochinito, not cochino. We were in that book, right? Remember?
Yes.
But I was wanting to ask Javier how maybe this new number 1 creatively compared to previous work. And honestly, I really feel like Diego has always he's always had heart, no pun intended. And I really like that about the story, and I think that's been consistent throughout all the iterations of El Muerto that we've read. I really am wondering, the title Man from Mictlan, did he go to Mictlan before in other El Muerto stories? I don't remember. We read so many Latino stories.
Yeah, so I think what initially happened was that he was in that car accident. He went to Mictlán, and then he came out like several years after, back into the world of the living as a zombie. So I think even some of his friends, I think, had already moved on, and I think he had a girlfriend at the time as well. So there was like a lot of character development there where he had to realize, hey, the world isn't where I left it. And I am not the same either. And that was a struggle for him because, and he says it in this book where he feels like he cursed himself by getting that tattoo of the calavera, and kind of having it be kind of his sigil or even his bat signal, as Dulce calls it. So part of him feels like he kind of brought this upon himself, and also having to realize that this is who he is now, even though he's trying to reverse it by trying to have a meeting with Moctezuma, which he's not even available for 20 days,
I know.
which is
What
a
was that
brujo.
about?
So he's trying to revert back to his old self, and they feel like this man has the ability to try to help him out, but they haven't been able to talk to him because he's busy and took off on a
He's
trip.
busy.
Yeah. So he tries to retain him by offering him $300. He's like, okay, come back here like in 20 days.
Oh
And then
man.
we'll, yeah. So
And
he's like, oh, no refunds.
exactly, and deposits are not refundable.
Yes.
Well, we already shared what all of the stretch goals and everything that they have. I really always enjoy Raphael's um, alternate cover arts. He's such a talented creator and artist. The buttons are cool, and you talked about an actual sticker of his heart tattoo, and you have to read number 2 to find out more information about the heart tattoo and how he actually comes about receiving a heart tattoo. So it is a really cool part of the story. And this particular issue has a lot going on. Has the love story and the development of that relationship, has the drug cartel craziness going on, and then has his journey to trying to become a real boy.
One way
Yeah,
of putting it.
particularly like the introduction of these other villains, quote unquote villains, and just a bit of their story. We get a little bit of information from these villains and where they come from, which I thought was really cool. But also, we also see him struggle with his capacity to bring people back from the dead or any animal back from the dead. So there's that on top of the whole storyline where we get to see his struggles and his how he uses his gift and how I was like, Diego, what are you doing? Like I wanted to shake his shoulders, but I mean, I feel I understand him as a person with heart, but also um, how that affects battling these bad guys. One of the things I really found super cool about this comic was all the little what would you call it when somebody walks into the scene of a movie? Not a cameo, but more of a
It is a cameo.
Yeah.
kind of an
Easter egg?
Easter egg.
Okay.
Easter
Yeah.
egg is like less, I think.
Really?
I think so.
Well, it's an
Or
Easter
they-
egg to you because you know, I think
Mhm.
the people or you know the names, they're familiar to you.
Yes,
Okay, yeah,
absolutely.
that makes sense. I agree with
So
that.
we have a cameo appearance from an artist we all know and love, Osoyo, Nathaniel. There is I think it's Sergeant or Captain Osoyo, which makes an appearance in the comic. And also we see in the background from a shop there's a Sonambulo poster, which is the character of Rafael Navarro. So I think these little homages to other local creators is just really amazing. What do you think, Jen?
I think so too. I mean, like the Latino community, artist community, comic artist community sticking together. I think it's really good. I also think it really goes to show like these are people that we see all the time at the con circuit. So it's nice also seeing them in their works, in their natural habitats. Yeah, it's no, it's pretty cool.
Okay, so we know that Javier has been advocating for Latinos and Latino creators in comics for decades. I think it's important for us as Comadres y Comics to really talk about how we have seen the industry grow and change. I think we are celebrating 10 years this year, and I think that there has been a lot of growth over the last decade. You know, Javier and Raphael and all of the old guard have been around for so long, but they've struggled to really get their stuff out there. Although Javier, every time we sit next to him at a convention, he's sold out by lunchtime.
Yeah.
But as a podcast whose goal was to highlight Latino creators and characters in the comic book industry, I definitely think that we've seen growth in the industry when it comes to Latino creators. I know myself as a retailer have seen an increase in creators that we are familiar with on FOC, which means that they are being widely distributed. Of course, a lot of Latino creators are self-published, but getting widely distributed through Lunar or Penguin is a big freaking deal. And we used to not see as much of that in the past. So I definitely think that there has been growth. Of course, there's always room for more growth, but creators like Javier really are still leading the way for other creators behind them to come in and get their stuff out in front of the mainstream. So I think that is definitely my point of view. What have you two seen as far as Latinos in the comic community over the last decade that we've been podcasting?
I mean, definitely we've seen like a lot of them get more nominations either in the Eisners or the Ringo Awards as well. Like we keep saying, like we keep sniffing out which one's gonna get a nominee or is gonna win, and I feel like we've been really getting good at that as well. But also, I think it also goes to show that the quality of work and the recognition for that work is reaching a broader audience finally, and that we are seeing newer, younger, fresher Latino faces that can be like, yeah, I can do this as well. So that's really nice as well. I also feel like, and I feel like this needs to be stated, never wait for the big two.
Yes.
Never wait for the representation from the big two. Because on that front, I've barely seen anything. But on the indie front, on the like smaller scale, smaller publishing scale, it's blowing up. And at some point, maybe the big two will catch up, but don't hold your breath. So, as with all things, and I'll always keep saying, support indie creators, support local creators, support non-AI creators, especially people who are willing to like do the work and put it out there without taking shortcuts. And so, definitely, I've seen the changes. It's going to be interesting to see how AI is going to change things, because it's going to change things whether we like it or not. There's that, but I want to see things change for the better, or for like stuff to be regulated and recognized and labeled to be easily discernible, because AI isn't going to get worse, it's only going to get better. And it's going to get better off of stolen works, probably from creators of color. Most likely from creators of color. So I'm hoping we get to see and we recognize real talent over imitated talent. If it's even talent. If it's even considered talent. It's just copy, paste, and blur. But yeah, I mean, that's what I've seen. That's what I've noticed.
Yeah.
Well, I've been really excited of seeing a lot of people self-publish, like on Webtoons, and also like Slice of Life on Instagram. Coming across a lot of those independent creators has been really like just eye-opening, and just even Slice of Life, where I can identify with some of the situations they write about. I think that's really impressive, and actually speaks to the people and the masses and people of color. So I just feel like there's so many stories to be told, and just put yourself out there and definitely reach out to other creators. They will help you and promote your stuff too. So, I mean, we're always out here helping each other and shining a light, a beacon of light towards other creations. And I think that's what makes us particularly special, and also part of the big comics community. So I'm I'm very proud of this podcast, and I'm also like just in awe of seeing all the talent that comes across and that people share with us. So it's definitely out there, a story for you guys to read and to identify with.
For a podcast that thought that we were going to run out of characters within the first 6 weeks, I think we've done amazingly, having lasted for 10 years and still discovering new Latino talent almost, weekly. So I'm very excited to be back on FOC. I have a couple of books already on order for us, waiting for them to come in. And I have so much hope for the continuation of growth of not just Latino creators, but also just marginalized communities out there, putting more content into the comic book world. I think it's definitely needed and definitely wanted. And I just love being a part of that. And Javier was an early champion of that. And I want to just make sure that you all know that a support of this Kickstarter is a support of continuing to allow more Latino stories for and by Latinos and about Latinos. It's really important for you to support these kind of self-publishing endeavors on Kickstarter, because they, like Jen said, they didn't wait for Big Two. They didn't wait for anybody. They made it happen themselves, and that deserves all the support. So if you want to support Javier, he has his very own website called elmuerto.com. And you can go there and find out all that you want to know about Man from Mictlan #2 Kickstarter campaign. There are links to the campaigns. There's archives of his old stuff. And there is links to all of his socials. So he is Javier Los Comics on Instagram. Let me just double check here.
And just so you guys know,
Javier Los Comics on Instagram.
Awesome. And I'm glad you brought up the whole Latinidad aspect, because this actual comic book, I went to Tijuana to hang out with some friends. It was a friend of Frank's from Nicaragua who had shacked up with a girl from Tijuana, and they took us down the coast, that very same trip that Diego had with Dulce, eating lobster and steak and stuff by the sea and everything, and going to the little beach. So when I was reading that, I'm like, oh man, I did that. I did that once, but I did it, and it was beautiful. And yes, Tijuana is very beautiful and very affordable.
I don't
let
even eat
anybody
lobster.
tell you different.
I don't even eat lobster, but watching them eat steak and lobster made me want steak and lobster.
Surf and turf, baby.
Yes.
So also, Javier Hernandez is a co-founder, thank you, of Latino Comics Expo. So if you ever want to meet the artist and you have backed the Kickstarter and you got the comic book, or if you want to meet him in person, you're definitely going to want to check out the Latino Comics Expo in Long Beach. We don't know when it's happening, but it's a yearly event, so just keep that under your hat and definitely follow them on Instagram, because it's a really great event, and I'm surprised of how many new faces I see, new creators I see each year, and from what I know, there is a wait list. So basically, you get to kind of see new faces every year and see new talent, artwork, and comics. So check that out, definitely.
Yes. So as Sarah said, check them out. You can follow them at Latino Comics Expo on Instagram for any updated information. This last year was amazing. It was held, was it held in November? No, that was 2024. Update your Instagram, Javier. But have we done one in 2026 already?
No.
Okay, so be sure to follow Latino Comics Expo on Instagram for all of the updated information. It's usually held at the Museum of Latin American Art in Long Beach, and it's always an amazing time.
Absolutely. So I think this brings us to the end of this episode. Where can they find us?
You can find us at comadresycomics.com, where you can find links to some of our past episodes and then links to all of our socials. You can also email us at comadresycomics@gmail.com. And if you're not already watching us, you can watch us on YouTube. And if you are attending San Diego Comic-Con this year, we have a panel on Thursday, the 23rd at 11 o'clock at the main library. We are celebrating 10 years of comics and conversation with Comadres y Comics.
Yay!
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for listening, guys, and definitely back that Kickstarter. Please support local comic creators, indie creators, Latino creators. We have been your host. I'm Sarah.
I'm Kristen.